Well, welcome to another Nature's Glory Cabin Off-Road Edition. We're back in the Backcountry Byway again. Today we are doing day one of the 3-day Back to Byway event sponsored by Dan Cummins and a few others. This is day one, 4/11/2023. Today we are doing some new things the rest of the week, but right now we have a new logo here. They've added 300 more miles to the loop. And we're going to be doing Wayne Benson and Johnson Hollow. This particular one's only going to be Wayne Benson, and we're going a different direction than we did before. So take note, and it looks a little different. We did it last month, and there wasn't any leaves on the trees, and this time there's lots of them. So it looks a little different. So we're going down 36 here in Frenchburg, and we're going to stay on 36. We're going to go about a mile or so, and we're going to make a right onto Wayne Benson. There's a sign, so you can't miss it. We're going to go back in here a little ways, and it appears to dead end, but there's a gravel road, as you can see right there. That gravel road we're going to take, that begins the trail. This is Wayne Benson. This one is a mix of easy stuff and not really so easy stuff. This direction was a little easier than climbing up that we did in the previous one, but there are still about 3 things that are a little more difficult, especially if you're a stock vehicle. You'll see something happen a little later. That stock FJ that's in front of me has a couple of interesting things happen. One of note in this video, of course, he's going to be in front of me for several trails as I get these posted. Again, I sped this up. It's not a very long ride, but it does take some time, and we stopped in the middle for lunch. I did decide to show the entire trail because it is a different direction. Normally I would have cut out this easy stuff because we'd already seen it, but since we're going in a different direction this time, I thought it might be something you might want to see. Did this trail with the General Bowen ride about a month ago, and I think it's already live. So far, nothing really exciting. Pay attention to where we go because there's some offshoots here and there. If you have the Cartatrax map that runs on the Avenza app, it will help you stay where you're at for the Backcountry Byway trails. Trees are all nice and green now. They weren't last month, so now they're starting to look a little better and get a little more shade down in here. So far it looks really easy, right? But wait, there's more. Right there we missed a spot we meant to turn to stay on the trail and didn't realize it until the app showed us that we missed it. So we found a nice little spot down here and stopped and had lunch. We'd already been out a couple of hours or so by now. Through the magic of editing, we'll cut most of this out, and here we are, we're taking off again. So we've already had our lunch, heading back to the trail. See when we get up here that we bear left from where we came down from the right. Straight ahead, actually. This section is called the north section of the Backcountry Byway, and it was only added itself just 2 or 3 years ago. So there's lots of new trails being added all the time, in addition to the just added 300 more miles worth of trails. Some are a mix of gravel and blacktop that actually get you to the trails. So we'll do some of those later. Still beautiful country down in here. You can see all the trees, and nice smooth ride so far. We do this all to also help rent our cabin if anybody's interested. It's a Nature's Glory cabin. It's both a YouTube and a Facebook channel. You're watching it on YouTube here. And it has a web address, www.naturesglorycabin.com. And we allow it to be rented when we're not using it. There's a management company that handles that part of it for us. It's actually very close to these trails here. All these North Loop and Frenchburg are close to Nature's Glory cabin. Don't get too bored with me. I know it looks boring at the moment. But again, I just wanted to show the entire trail so you know what to expect if you actually got on the trail. Finally, a little bit of mud and water. And these early days, just so you know it, these are impromptu rides. These aren't organized rides. These are where a bunch of folks just get together and take off and ride. The actual organized ride is on Saturday, and that's when most people actually show up, and you have bigger groups. That's why we have a small group here today. I think we have 5 or 6 vehicles. And it allows you to get out, and the trail leaders tend to pre-run their trails to make sure there's no surprises when they actually run their route on the actual day of the event. The pre-trail days are actually a lot of fun. Smaller groups and usually go a little faster. The bigger groups take a little longer generally. Alright, we're finally getting back in the forest a little better. Starting to see a few more ruts here and there. Again, the other one looks completely different, going in this different direction with the trees all fledged out now. Before they weren't. A little bit of rocks. Look how deep we are down in the road here, how high the sides are. I sped this up a little bit so we didn't have to like move at 2 miles an hour like we were. So there's some ruts, a little bit, not bad. Stock vehicle's handling it very well right now. Also, when you're riding, don't forget the basic rules to make sure you see the vehicle in front of you and behind you. We had GMRS communication going on. We all had radios. We're talking back and forth. But if you can't or don't have radios, be sure to honk your horn. People will be listening for you to stop. You don't want anybody to get lost. Sometimes something real simple can hang somebody up that somebody else didn't think it was a big deal. A little more ruts. Now we're getting down to the meat of the trail. We're coming up on, I think, the first one, and keep an eye on the vehicles in front of me and see which way they go and how they do it. Have a bit of a I don't know what to call it, a situation. It isn't bad, but it'll surprise you. Watch that rear tire. Excuse me, the right rear tire. I said left rear, but watch, it's the right rear. And that's our trail leader spotting him there through that. He had gone low, and I think I ended up going low here. Some went high, some went low. If you know your vehicle very well, sometimes that's the best way to do it. He was in a stock vehicle, stock clearance, so he probably wouldn't have been able to go through this rut on the left that I'm going to go into. And actually, you see me steering right, and it doesn't like it. It's going to pull me right into the rut, and that's okay. Not a problem. See how deep it is from the rear camera. And we're out of it. Alright, this is the one in the previous video that we climbed this hill, and it was a pretty good job to climb it. Going down it is significantly easier. That tree to the right there is where we winched to for the first vehicle that needed to winch up in the previous video. waited there for a minute or two to make sure everybody could get down. So you don't want to be in anybody's path when somebody's negotiating obstacles, so you can make sure everybody has room to get in and out of it. It's kind of rough. This is mostly rocky than muddy. And this corner here is a pretty good rut. Don't recall it from previous times, so it must be developed more since the month that has passed. Those couple of obstacles make this thing a little bit more difficult. I'd probably give this a 4 rating on my 4 to 10. Everything else looked to be a 2 or a 3. It was very easy to those points. I don't know if you want to do it alone or not, depending on how well equipped you are. Last thing you want to do is break something out in the middle of nowhere. And this is the middle of nowhere. And we're pretty much out of it now. We're just coming down off the hill and working our way out to the main road. Obviously the trail leader made it back to his vehicle. I cut that out while we were waiting when he went back. So he wasn't spotting from behind. He made it back to his vehicle. It's a fun little ride. I thought it was easier in this direction than the other, simply because going downhill is easier than trying to climb a hill sometimes. And again, we're back on much easier trail now, a whole lot like it was at the beginning. That little bit in the middle though can throw you off. So you be the judge of whether you can make it or not. Try to explain as much as I can, and don't do it alone if it's questionable. Because sometimes, depending on your equipment, if you don't have a winch and you need one, you're in trouble. Something as simple as a flat tire can throw you off. Not the easiest conditions to change a tire in. Actually, I had to stop for a second. Somebody had to move a car that was in the road. See, it's just a one-lane road. So, well, this is getting close to the end. We're going to end this one and start the other one up where this one ends. This is going to the end of Wayne Benson, and when we left down here, we'd make a sharp left. We'll see it in this video to do Johnson Hollow, and that video will be coming up next. Hope everybody's enjoyed these videos. Like and subscribe if you want to. I'd appreciate it. Comment. I like to hear from you. Hope to see you out on the trails. If you see me, flag me down. I usually have my Nature's Glory Cabin signs on the side of the Jeep. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Come back again next time around, and let's see what we can get into.